Thanks for joining us today. We're in the offices of the Selma Sun in the Queen City, and I have with me former nurses from Good Samaritan Hospital. I'm going to start to my right immediately. Would you introduce yourself, please, and tell me when you were a nurse at the hospital?
Oh, Lord, do I remember? I'm Vera Jenkins Booker, and I was born September the 13th, 1938. So the Lord has let me live to get 88 years of old. And I tell you, the 88 years of age make me forget everything back at 80 when I was born and since then. But just for a little fun, I was a nurse at Good Samaritan in my young days. And all through these pretty ladies over here, tenure there. And it's amazing that I can remember if I was 28 or maybe 30 years old when I got there, because that's just been that long. It has been that long. And then from there on to Grady Memorial Hospital School of Nursing in Atlanta, Georgia, all of that. And on into being a nurse practitioner from Grady and all the way up. And I just thank God for all of it. And as I told you, I'm 88 years of age, and I can tell you, as Annetta might can, the last day that I went to a nursing school, like when I really graduated and finished, because I was still doing it, just doing it and taking it and getting scholarships, and when I got a scholarship, I took it.
Good for you.
All the way up, I know, if I remember well, until I was a good 58 or going on 60 years of age. Wow. My children were born. Is that right, Nancy? Yes.
Her daughter's sitting over
Yeah,
here.
that's my baby. Mm-hmm.
And let's move to the next little young lady sitting over here.
I'm Clara Williams Moore. I came to Good Samaritan Hospital School of Nursing in 1969. I was in the last nursing class that was graduated from Good Samaritan.
I'll be darned. And next to you is?
I am Jeannie Wooten Evans, and I came to Good Samaritan in 1966.
Wow.
66. I had just graduated from college at Wichita State University, Wesley School of Nursing, and I met my husband there, and he told me that there was no other hospital that I would work at other than Good Samaritan. And when I came here, I looked for Good Samaritan. His mother told me I would work at Good Samaritan. His aunt told me I would work there. Everybody told me.
And you did.
And that's what I did.
Now, we got to tell everybody who your husband was, somebody who I looked up to and dearly loved.
My husband was George Evans.
The former mayor of Selma, who
Former
was
mayor.
such a great man.
George Patrick Evans.
Yeah, he was such a great man.
Wasn't he a great man?
Yeah, he was. I hate he's not with us anymore, but I always enjoyed
I hate
him.
it too. But,
Yeah. So let's talk about being a nurse at Good Samaritan. Now, when were you there, Ms. Booker? Were you there during the bridge crossing? And
All of that.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell me. I went when I was so young.
29.
Huh?
29.
you were 29 when you went there.
And I'm 88.
Wow, so you're there for a
Y'all
long
feel
time.
it. And when I went there, I was so young, I can't remember now. I remember what I did. But I was always, and they'll tell you, the ones that know me, and especially my children, they thought I knew it all.
Really?
Yeah, really. And I knew that God had created me from a little girl to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Not from mama or any of the people. And I knew it. And I knew I was blessed. And I really thought that in any class or whatever I took in Grady or wherever I went and all that I was one, or if I was not the first, the smartest student they had. That was just in me. I was just brilliant with nursing. And I know God done that before at the time I was conceived.
Wow.
And I knew that. And I knew all of my life that I was going to be that great nurse. And I was going to be the smartest one of them. Didn't know what I was going through, even with the sisters that they can tell you, and all of that, but I knew as a little girl. And when I finished school and went away to Alabama State for 1 year, I got right out and started to nursing school.
Wow.
Very young. And I just knew it. I was not, they can tell you, I was lovely, smiling all the time, just joyful, never mad and all, never. Even when I'm probably you ever see me, no ma'am.
I can tell she
I
probably never had
learned
more
to
than that.
smile. I learned it.
Yeah. Well, you put smile on people's faces.
Okay.
I've known you for what, 10 minutes? And I'm in love with you.
I love you too.
You're awesome.
Tell your wife.
Oh, sorry, hon. But there's more. Tell us when you were at the hospital.
I came to Good Samaritan in 1969. The way I got here, growing up in Mobile, Alabama, the Catholic schools, they would have listings of all of the affiliated schools in the state. And in my neighborhood, there were two girls who were older than I was. And they left home and went to Good Samaritan Hospital School of Nursing. It was well known.
Wow.
Very well known throughout the state of Alabama. And like Ms. Booker says, I knew from a little girl what I was going to be.
All right.
My family's thing was educators,
Wow, really?
but I wanted no part of it.
Yes, they.
And my mother and father would scold me about it. No, you going to Southern, Baton Rouge. And I didn't argue with them or anything because I knew I wasn't going there. I didn't know where I was
You
going.
sound
love
like
that.
me.
Maybe Dillon, but I wasn't going to Southern because I wasn't going in no education.
I'll be darned.
And after hearing about Good Samaritan Hospital School of Nursing, I got it in my head, well, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. The girls would graduate and come back home, and it was well known they could get a job anywhere in this
They
United
were
States
smart, I'll tell you.
Wow.
because you were a Good Samaritan graduate.
I
And I got that in my head. And that's where I went to get my nurse's training.
Hey, Miss Evans, did you have a similar story? Because it sounds like that was the place to be if you wanted to be a nurse.
Yes, I have a similar story. I don't know. Maybe nurses are born to be nurses
You
because
are.
I remember my mother and father getting for me for Christmas one of those little kits, doctors' kits, nurses' kits,
Beautiful.
and I played with that throughout my whole young age.
Wow.
I was always a nurse. My mother was an educator. My father was a mortician. Well, my mother thought that I was going to go into education.
Gotcha.
But that didn't happen. She had a sister who was a registered nurse, and I thought her sister, also my mother was so pretty. I thought they both were beautiful, but I thought my aunt was just a beautiful woman as a nurse. I would see her dressed up in her white, and back in the day they had the caps on. And I thought she just looked so pretty as a nurse, and I wanted to be a nurse too. So I had my nursing kit, and I played nurse every day, often played with my kid. I grew up, went away to college, and that's what I wanted to be, a nurse. And of course, as I said earlier, please excuse my voice.
That's okay.
I'm a little hoarse right now.
That's all right.
When I came here, that was it, nursing.
Yeah,
It was in my heart. I had a passion for love and taking care of patients and wanted to be in the situation where I could be of service to someone who needed to be helped. And so nursing has just always been in me from a little girl to now.
And Zanetta, her daughter, just handed this to us. We wanted to talk about Miss Booker's time at Good Samaritan during the Civil Rights Movement in 1965. And will you tell us what this poster's about?
This poster is about, and it says American, America, and this poster is about a lot of blacks that were in the civil rights thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I don't even know. If I get close up, I might could tell you. But Jimmy Lee Jackson, right on the end over here, this is the big picture then, is the young man that came into the Good Samaritan Hospital when I was supervisor, and I was night supervisor. And they had called from wherever he was.
Marion?
In Marion, at the place where he went in to take care of his granddaddy and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And said that a man was going to be brought in. Young man had gotten shot by a state trooper. Never knew the man's name. It might be in there somewhere. Anyway, and he said that they're going to bring him in. He's on his way to the Good Samaritan. I was a night supervisor, just had gotten to work good. And they said to me, so he's been shot by a state trooper, and he was going into where they had ran to get something to eat at about wherever it was, close to where they were going to have a mass meeting, and that he was being brought in, and I was just trying to get ready and get ready for it to happen. And that date,
That was February the 18th, 1965.
February 18th. Wow.
65. So anyway, they brought him in, and I was young, and I had to be, but we took care of him. He was in so much pain. Then I don't know when I got ready, they put him on the table. I could see a part of his intestine.
Oh, Lord.
About a good, we would say a handful of his mama and his handful of intestine on the right side
God.
of his back hip, which way it was started, shot like in the stomach part of the back, in front, and all of that went through. And all of that was just, feces and all of the intestines and all. And we took him to the room. I can't remember exactly what room, but we did. And the orderly was there and took care of him. We got him all cleaned up and everything. And I called Dr. Dinkins. Dr. Dinkins was the black doctor, one of the black doctors here, Dr. Maddox. And I called Dr. Dinkins if he would come in, and he did. And he came in to see Jimmy and all, and it was chaos. Right? You can remember, if you can think of it. Bring them in, his emergency room, and people everywhere, and some people that got in the Good Samaritan, that the secretary out of us, they had gotten that call that he was coming in. And people from Marion, and it's people that hadn't seen him, and his mama, and all it was just chaos. Now, I've nursed a long time in my life, retired years and years ago, but I can never remember another thing that was like that evening when they brought him in, because people were everywhere. You can imagine about your mama and sister and everybody and girlfriend, everybody you got. And it was just chaos. And the date was February, what was it? 1965.
And that's really what actually sparked the Civil Rights
It
Movement.
did. Jimmy Lee Jackson and all of us and the death of him. I mean,
You were there. That's amazing.
I went through all of it. And then we're going to talk about it. And it was amazing. As of today, it runs me back through. I don't really look at that too much, I'll tell you, because it reminds me of it. Yeah. And all of the weeks that I had with him, that was like me 2 weeks ago. And I don't know, because Sister Jim was there. They were over it. You know what I mean? They were, Sister, what was the supervisor's name? Sister
Mary Christopher.
Sister.
Was it Mary Christopher?
You know, Good Samaritan, the one that was over Good Samaritan. What was her name? No, not Isabel. One before. Y'all might not even know. That's all right. But anyway, the sisters, and they were the ones really in charge, but I was the supervisor of the nurses, and I was the emergency room nurse.
Yeah.
But I tell
So
you,
you're an actual ER nurse as well as a nurse.
that's why I was everything.
Yeah.
I was at all, super night supervisor. And I tell you what, I learned about it, and I know these young ladies over here did. She was a very good person when she wanted to be. Yes, she was. She was a good person. But you know what, as I shared with you when I got started, I just never dreamed it, knew in my lifetime that it was any nursing is smarter than I was.
Wow, really?
Ooh, when I came up, yeah, they can tell you, I had with my hat on, the little cap from Grady, and boy, I could strut and go and come back and do it all and talk the whole time I'm with you, they can tell you, and all about something good, something bad, or whatever, and they were like my children.
You know, that's what the last time we talked about it was it being like a family at
That's what they
Good
were.
Samaritan.
And they all loved me, and I loved them.
Talk about that a little bit, or tell us about how it was to work. I mean, if you went in on a daily basis, how was it like to work for the Good Samaritan?
It was, for me, like we said, family. You know, and the nurses, they taught you what they knew. They just took you under their wings, you know, especially us younger nurses, 'cause we didn't know nothing, had never been away from
But
home.
they were so good.
And they just took us under their wings and just taught us how to be a real nurse, basically.
Right.
I worked with Miss Alice Lewis
Oh, she
on the day shift.
Mhm.
When I came there, and of course I would see Miss Booker, she would be leaving from working night shift. But that hospital was run by the sisters,
St. Joseph.
Sisters of St. Joseph, Miss Booker, and
Miss Lewis.
Miss Lewis, and LPNs. LPNs did everything, patient care, gave injections,
Yes, right.
took care of other patients. They were all, like I said, a family. Now I'm coming there, the new kid on the block, new registered nurse, and these are LPNs. Well, I didn't know anything about nursing. I'm just coming out of school.
High school.
So they did, like they did with Claire. Took me under their wings to help me, but they did it kind of reluctantly, but we soon fell in love with each other and it worked out all right. But they did give me a hard time right at the very beginning.
Right.
Because, well, they were running the place.
Yeah.
And they did a good job at taking care of the patients and doing everything that they needed to do for the hospital. Now, as far as equipment, and I remember very well some of the equipment that we had to use for the patient, we reused, we recycled things. Needles were sharpened, were washed, cleaned, sterilized, sharpened, and we reused them. The dressings that we use for patients, we had to clean them. We didn't do it, but it was done in Central Supply, and we knew that this is what they were doing. And when they came back, they were all sterilized in a little package and everything, so that we could use them if we needed to on the patient. But Good Samaritan was one of 3 hospitals. I believe it was 3 here at that time. And the African American community went to Good Samaritan Hospital because in '65, that's where they went and got the best care.
Right.
And where the nurses and everybody really cared about taking care of them.
And didn't you tell me that Good Samaritan also was like if you had no insurance or it was hard for you to pay?
Yeah.
So
They took care of it.
that's what took everybody. So I thought another interesting point that a lot of folks may not realize that in the fact that Good Samaritan was a mission of the Ebonites.
That's right. Mission. They're Catholic. All
Right.
the fathers would come and visit during the day. They say I didn't see them that much, but they would come if you needed them. You know, the fathers then when they come see the patient, and especially if they had a patient that was a Catholic.
Right.
You'd always see them, and some of the members of the church, that even at night, now we're only 11 to 7, but early morning before they go to work, but we came up in to see Miss Jones, whoever, and it was always, it was like that they can share this with you, like they used to say. Somebody was in and out all day, even though they had to take care of their patients and do what they had to, but they were, and I had to do the night because I was a night supervisor, but it was hard, but they done a beautiful job. I met them, and they were so smart and so good, and so caring. They both of them right there, never getting sassy back, tell them what to do, they were going to do it. And I was never a mean nurse, they could tell you that. I give them that smile, and I didn't fuss, I didn't cut up, and I definitely didn't curse. My children tell you I didn't curse. I didn't grow up with a cursing. My mom would say a word, but she wouldn't. Yes, ma'am, we knew what it meant. But anyway, that meant a lot, because a lot of time in our lives, and y'all have to stop me from talking, in our lives, and they can tell you that, with the doctors, nurses that were older than me, they were, or me, or anybody's supervisor, or what, it was hard on them. And it was hard on me as a student, somewhat, but not much. But anyway, and it was hard on them because I was older, a few years older, but I never was mean. Even one of them there right now, I can tell you I was mean to them. I was going to always smile. I was going to show my pretty dimple over here and every day was back up. But anyway, I did. I could smile mine through. Even with doctors, they had some of them would be, but oh Lord, Dr. Ellett was with Dr. Ellett. He was. And I loved the Ellett so much. And Dr. Ellett was
Me.
He was a
but
cursed
even
mean
now,
doctor,
really
but he
mean.
was good.
That's right, he was good now.
He was good,
But
but he-
Dr. Evelyn came, the
Dr.
hours
Mo,
came over,
Jasper
came
Mo.
with him
Oh yeah,
from
Jack.
Mississippi.
Ooh.
Oh, that was my boyfriend. Really, I got to be close to him, and he thought I was one of the smartest nurses he'd ever seen. Nothing no more than show. But anyway, I just smiled like they said, and had my talk. I always said this, blah 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 at night. And Dr. Elliott never was it, but he, believe it or not, you ladies, he learned to love me. Until the day Dr. Elliott died, when he was down sick, I went to see him. Oh God, yeah. And Dr. Elliott was something to get along with.
Yes, he was.
Best doctor, really best doctor we had around here, wasn't it?
Very
But see, when
good.
Dr. Moore came in from Mississippi to help him,
Elliot
Dr.
Moore.
Moore was younger, and Dr. Elliott was getting older. But whatever Dr. Elliott said, she could tell you with the sisters and all. What's her name? Our nursing lady. Oh, she loved Dr. Elliott. I can't remember her name now. The one over the nursing home. Oh, don't worry about it. But anyway, all of them, they loved him because he was their first.
This poor.
Was it Anna Bear Plummer?
No, I'm thinking of,
Was it one of the sisters?
yeah, it was one of those sisters. But they loved him, you hear me? And that was the way we got in. And I had that get up and go. The greatest thing that I thought I was getting no more than anybody else, Good Samaritan on up. And I did not let them bother me. I didn't care what they said. If you ever done it wrong, I would apologize and say I did it wrong. But I did never go back and try to cry about it. I don't think I ever just, how we could get, when we get down, they come in with it, I'm ready.
Well, one of the things that I think we've spoken about before is the quality of care.
That's right.
At Good
That's
Samaritan
right.
was
You know,
above and beyond,
that's right.
especially
And
for
you knew.
a
And you
hospital
knew
that
what you knew.
didn't for low income.
And we took up for each other. She can tell you,
Right.
if I was over them and they done wrong, they didn't have to take it. I was over them. They done wrong. Maybe and we talked to them about it and all of that, but they were under me, for me to tell them. And not Dr. Joe or Jew or whoever come in and make them feel like they wasn't anybody. No.
The
I
patients that we actually took care of were a lot of indigent patients or low-income patients, no income, no insurance,
Right.
and so they would come to Good Samaritan, and we didn't care.
That's right.
We took care of them. They needed our help, and so
And we didn't make any difference.
it did not make any difference. That's right. And therefore, Good Samaritan, being a Catholic hospital, this community, a lot of the community was Catholic too. So they naturally came to the Catholic hospital, came there for their care because, as I said earlier, if we had gone to other hospitals, we would be put in certain areas
Yeah, that's right.
of the hospital, and maybe not the best of care, but at
Right.
least you were there and got some attention rather than not getting any
Right,
attention at all. So a lot of them came to Good Samaritan where they knew that Miss Booker was there, Claire was there, Miss Lewis was there. Everybody had a loving compassion for taking care of patients.
Yes.
Were there ever any white patients at Good Samaritan?
Not often. Not the now
I
and then
can't
they come
remember
down.
any.
Not often at all. They would
I
come.
can't remember
If they
any.
were, they would have come in like through the sisters, being Catholic.
Right.
Those were the ones, but not often.
You know, something I thought was interesting about the Catholic community in Selma. The Catholic Church now is Our Lady Queen of Peace.
That's it. The name over there.
Right. Well, but did you know that in I think it was '69,
Saint
the little
Elizabeth.
chapel, the Edmondite
Saint
Chapel,
Elizabeth.
was the black church.
That was Saint Elizabeth.
Yeah, and this one was there was two
Well,
different parents. It was a
two.
white church, but in
It was.
70 or 71,
They married.
they merged, and it was like one of the very first integrated Christian churches in the country.
I heard that.
In the
I
country,
didn't
yeah.
know. Wow.
And I read this, and I tell you why, it's because I'm Catholic, and I haven't been to mass in a while. And sorry, Mom, but when I read that, I thought, well, that is the neatest thing.
Yeah.
And I did not know until I met y'all that Good Samaritan was part of the Edmondites, which is part of the Catholic community. I think that's fantastic.
That's where I think.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you were talking about the reusing the equipment and reusing the different things. I think last time you said, even though, and when I say last time, I'm gonna have to make a confession. We had a technical snafu. We've done this interview once before, but we had a technical snafu. So some of this information I already know. But you were talking about how there was never any infections, there was never any problems like that,
No.
even though y'all were
Recycle.
recycling.
Washing
Recycle.
gloves.
And you
Part
know
of the
what? And the
curriculum.
people that took them in was a little, what was her name? So sweet little lady, and all of them would take them in. One was black. The one was over, I think, was a white young man. I can't remember the name. But they would be, good when you go pick them up, or I go pick them up, or somebody go pick it up and be sent. They would be really fixed nice. Every one up to the ones you gave shots with and everything. They done that stuff. And I don't remember many infections. Do
It
you all?
wasn't many
I don't
infections.
remember any.
No,
Being
no.
supervisor as I was.
It was
I don't
low.
remember many infections.
Right.
They
It was
took
real
care.
low.
Yes, Lord.
Part of our curriculum in the School of Nursing, we had to matriculate through the Central Sterile Processing
You
area.
had to make sure.
We had to wash disposable gloves. We washed them, dried them, folded and powdered them, and wrapped them.
You're talking about the rubber glove. You were
Rubber
reusing the
glove.
rubber glove.
That's right.
Wrapped them, and they were sterilized.
That's
You
right.
used them over
Over
and
and over
You
and
used
over.
them until they got holes in them.
And I guess this is because being a low-income hospital.
Low-income hospital, Father,
Saint Edmund.
the Father of St. Edmund,
Okay.
they were like the sponsors of the hospital, basically. And what the hospital got, they got through
Right.
the Fathers of St. Edmund.
That's right.
And I guess that's where most of the funding came through.
That's
through
where the
Edmondites.
funding came.
Edmondites.
Well, I want to go back to 1965 for a second. The day of the Bloody Sunday. What was that like?
Now, Bloody Sunday, I went in. I wasn't there in the morning. I did not go to church before I went. You know, you gotta help. Zanetta, can you help me? On Bloody Sunday.
You were saying that there was a lot of people all out
Huh?
on the floors as you walk in the door. And then that's the night they brought Jimmy Lee Jackson in, isn't it? No.
Now, Jim, that's the Bloody Sunday. Jimmy Lee didn't come
he was
in.
already there. But you was talking about Bloody Sunday, there was a lot
They
of
called y'all
people.
back.
They
in
called
to
us
work.
in.
a lot of
Let me
people
go to me.
up against the walls, everybody.
Yeah,
dressed
I was.
People were calling out for their
Nice
parents,
and
for their,
Mine
for their
was
people
Sunday.
and stuff. But she also mentioned that
Okay.
by being on the bridge, going across that bridge, nobody ever fell in. They didn't go in the water. She was saying that they would be out there with, you know, the big clubs been hit and busted heads and different things like that. And all of them were hollering and it was very chaotic. But she said that she go down the hall and she took care of a lot of patients that night from Bloody Sunday.
Well, now I understand too that a lot of the folks Bloody Sunday were teenagers and kids.
They were.
So did you see a lot of
Yeah,
children?
and they were in the hallways, you know, like getting ready or going out and everything, mom. And I remember pretty good, but I was there, but in this place, in that one, everywhere. But they never, we didn't have any of them to fall in the river or whatever. Didn't have any that was beaten real bad. We had some bloody Sundays, as you said. Now they say before I got there that someone was hit by some of the sheriff, you know, the police and all with the
Billy Club? Yeah.
But I don't know. Now I didn't see anybody being hit, but they were everywhere, all over the in front of the hospital, all down everywhere in the emergency room. And all of us as nurses who was around and could be, we went back down there, but they were, and we had a lot of injuries, but I don't remember any. I'm really saying died, somebody killed somebody, of what they got hit, sometimes got hit more than once, and those that were supposed that we could catch, we let the police know about it. They said they put them in jail, but you know you never knew. You never really you do, and they could tell you. You do what you had to do in your place and all. You didn't ever know, even as a supervisor, what all went on another one unless they tell you.
Right.
But Bloody Sunday was really kind of a really bad Sunday.
Bad chaotic day.
But nobody got killed.
That's
And that was a blessing now. wasn't
That was a blessing.
it? It was.
It's a
Nobody
shame
got
people
killed.
got hurt though.
Some of them they had to go in the hospital, and then of course some of us could go to Vaughn and all. And Good Samaritan was just field. But it was. I mean, I was called in on Bloody Sunday.
Now, how did that legacy last when y'all were there after Bloody Sunday? Did that legacy of Bloody Sunday?
It was told.
It was yes.
Was
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah.
story was
Story.
always told.
All
Yeah.
over, up to New York and everywhere.
It was told.
Yes, sir.
But even within the hospital, especially.
Yes, yes.
And they knew just what we done, and we knew what they did. You know, it was just that. As supervisors, they were really, these two was really some young nurses that you really could take care of. And
I wasn't here.
No, I know. I
At
know
that
you
time
can't.
that I was still in school. Both my husband and I would go to the TV to see what was going on, and this being home for him, he just he made it to the TV to see what was going on in his hometown. Every afternoon or every time he had a break, he would go. I wasn't here, but of course we could see and hear and knew from afar what was happening here. Didn't know what was happening in the hospital. But of course, with that many people being injured, you knew they had to go somewhere to get care. And when I came here, I heard a lot of stories. My brother-in-law was a part of the, you said young folk
Yeah, kids.
were part of the march. And I remember him telling me that with the tear gas, once the tear gas hit his group, they were scattering and going everywhere trying to get out of the way of the tear gas. and he was heading toward the river, running toward the river. He was out of it. He didn't know
that's
which
what it is.
direction he
Wow,
was going.
yeah.
Someone stopped him, of course.
Thank
But
heavens.
it was a lot of teenagers and a lot of young people that were a part of the marches the whole time. And I remember they were talking about
They
it.
talk about it.
His mother and father would go to mass meetings at Brown Chapel. They were members of Brown Chapel, but they were having mass meetings at Brown Chapel, and they talked about going. They would go to work, but they would be prepared
To go to
to go to mass meeting after work. Everybody was ready. That was a thing for them to do. But I was not here
Right.
at that time. I came later.
Well, you know, Good Samaritan was, I understand it was a low-income hospital, but with as much good care and as much quality, and obviously with the good name it had, what was its demise? Why did it ever shut down? And when was that? When?
I was gone. I can't remember
No, Good
that.
Samaritan closed in June of 1983.
83. Wow. That's when I graduated high school, in May. So that hadn't been,
Many
I
years.
say, that hadn't been long ago. It's been 40 years.
And I can hardly remember. You know what? And there's a thing to it, and knowing that I've been there so many years and on further, it hurt me. But you know, I can't remember. I'm like you. What? 83? You know, that's what I'm saying.
And
It's like,
I'm not sure why it
It
closed.
closed
sisters,
because,
wasn't it?
well, it was basically funding.
Fun.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah.
It's
You
what I'm
thank-
told
Thank
that-
God for you. Thank
Yeah, I
God
was
for you.
told that it was basically
was, if you
the
don't-
decrease in funding that Ammonite missions were getting.
From the north.
From the north.
I'll be able to take it out now. Now it's coming to me. But I was not a member there then, you know. I was
Yeah.
on. But I do remember that.
So, and I guess by that time too, you had, I guess you still had Baptist
We
Hospital
had
in
Baptist
Vaughn?
and Vaughn Regional. Vaughn Memorial at
Memorial.
that time.
And a lot of them went to Baptist. They didn't treat them as well as, because I done a little, what you call it, extra, at Baptist and Vaughn. But I tell you what, they were not treated there like I would have liked to have been about it, and the nurses in charge and all. But I was just going that, but overnight or evening or the morning. But that was the way that they came from up, because they know Good Samaritan, and they came there, and they knew they didn't have the hospital. And it was just sad, it really was. But I don't remember, and they probably was as younger than I am, remember anybody getting just really traumatized and beat up because they, you know, was being brought in later, you know, younger. They were white. They were white, but they what I'm doing wrong, Zanetta? Tell me.
Put your hands down so they can see your face.
What you say?
Your
Put your
hands.
hands down.
The man. Okay. I'm gonna hold my water. She done told me 2 or 3 times. I thought it was my dress or something.
That's all right.
She's so sweet.
But
gave that for
I just think that it's an amazing thing that hospital did what it did.
Yes,
I'm just kind of sad to see that it was
I know,
gone,
it's
you know?
I know.
And to have that kind of, how do you view healthcare, especially in this area today? I mean, is there now more acceptance between races, or do we still have problems in the healthcare industry that we need to work through, or how do y'all see it?
Well, I'm not here in Selma, and I'm not working anymore. I retired years and years ago. But as far as seeing it, just seeing it, from being a nurse and supervisor for years and all of that, I'm going to tell you the truth. I see it much better
It's much better.
in a lot of areas, because now you can go to a hospital, and regardless of how, what your color, you can be on a stretcher, you can be walking crippled, or what, and you can go into an emergency room, and they have the areas in hospitals where you can go into, you know, and it's large. Your hospital is larger, your care, and you get right to the emergency room, right in the door, and they know they can't take care of you, the nurse will tell you, they're gonna send you somewhere. They're not gonna just let you die.
And one of the things that, and one of the things that I think it hits me weird because a place where you can go into.
That's right, into.
It's like it doesn't cross my mind that there was places you couldn't go into because you won't. And to hear that, it's like, that really did happen, didn't it?
That's right. But you can go into it now, and that's a blessing. But back then, we did have a day when it was that bad, though. Not that bad, but
Yeah, I
that
understand what
happened
you're saying,
to
yeah.
some people. But
What are
And
y'all's
not,
thoughts?
not only in the hospital, that was everywhere. Restaurants, doctor's
Yeah.
office,
That's right. That's right.
everywhere.
You were
It
black.
was some limitation as to where you could go. And I just feel like that the care that you get now, we don't know, I do not know how nurses feel, but I don't think they have the passion
and
to take
There's
care
a
of
difference in
the
the
love that we had. That's
taking
right.
care of patients that we had. We had to work with little of nothing and produce
Marvelous.
wonderful outcomes,
That's right.
health outcomes for the patients. These technical things that they have now
Too modern.
to use on caring for the patient, great. The nurses get along well. You know, they work together. They take care of the patients together. Nurses are promoted, whereas back in the day, the only promotion you get would be if you worked at Good Samaritan.
That's right.
But you can go into the
And when you say nurses, you mean black nurses.
yes,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a black nurse couldn't even work in a white hospital back
That's
then.
right. No, I know that.
Yeah, I bet you do. But you know, some folks may not. There's some folks like myself that didn't grow up with that.
right.
That probably don't realize it. So, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to make that clarifying point.
Well, I can tell you for a fact they couldn't. When I left Good Samaritan Hospital,
All right.
I went to Vaughan Memorial Hospital. I went to the OB department. When I went there was one black nurse working labor and delivery. That was Miss Jeannie Evans. She was working labor and delivery. And I was really skeptical about going there, but we lost a doctor a couple of weeks ago that was an OB-GYN doctor, Dr. Sam Lett.
Yeah.
When he came to Selma, I was the supervisor, 3 to 11 shift at Good Samaritan.
And then he taught you so good.
When we got ready, thinking about closing, I told him, I said, I think I'm going to change up. I think I want to do OB. He told me, yeah, dog,
Come
I'll
on.
teach you everything I know. Teach you everything
And
you
you
need
do.
to know. And when I got there, like I said, Miss Evans was the only black nurse working labor and delivery.
She was so smart and good.
And I went on 3 to 11 shift. And indeed, I was taught about 3 years after I was on the OB unit. The supervisor of OB decided she was going to retire. And everybody was applying. Dr. Sam Lett told me, come here, Doc. I said, what you want, Doctor? I want you to apply for that job.
I want you to have
I
it.
said,
He said,
I don't want that job. I'm not going to apply for that job. I told him, I said, they're not going to give it to me. No way. He said, dawg, you know what you know. You going to get the job.
That's right.
And sure enough, I applied for that job.
you got it.
And I got it. And I was the director of the OB unit for Vaughan and Vaughan Regional until I retired 4 years ago. And that was for 33 years.
Beautiful job.
So you went from you were the director in a hospital that at one point you couldn't have gone and even gotten service, let alone be a nurse there.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
Isn't that something?
It is
Named
something.
a good nurse.
But you know what? And when the reason I like to bring this kind of stuff out is we can't let that kind of stuff ever happen again. And that stuff still goes on around the world.
You know what?
folks.
It's getting worse, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you got slavery in other countries still going on. You got slavery in this country still going
we don't know.
on that people don't, and you can talk black and white, but there's other that is doing it, and that's got to stop.
It's got to stop.
You got to quit mistreating children and people and whites and women and even
Blacks
men
and
that
blue
way.
and women, that's right.
Yeah.
But you
That,
know,
this needs to be known so that people go, oh, wait a minute.
let me go see.
Let me go see what else is going on.
That's right.
Yeah. But not only that, but the history of this area is so rich.
It is.
And to hear it coming straight from y'all's mouth,
Thank you.
it makes
Right.
it so much more real. And I mean, I've fallen in love with y'all. And I thank y'all so much for spending this time with us, because I bet everybody that watches this is gonna,
Wanna know?
want to know more. But I'd love to sit here all afternoon and talk. But I know y'all got stuff and I got stuff. Everybody got stuff to do. But thank you so much for being here today and letting us know about how it was there. And I appreciate you bringing this book. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You are just a
You know,
joy.
I get started and won't talk. Stop. They know that.
You know what we ought to do one day? We're gonna come in here with just you, and I'm gonna put the camera up and I'm just let you go.
Woo, Lord, isn't that the way you bring me?
Will you do that? I'm not joking either. I can see why y'all liked working with this lady.
We love it.
I can see why.
Yes,
I can see why. But I can see why you like them working for you too. So.
It was so sweet.
I hate to rap because I could sit here all night or all afternoon and listen to y'all, but I do want to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Ms. Zanetta, for bringing me to it and joining in the interview. You should have been sitting over here with us.
Yeah.
But I got some video. We're going to put it in there. They're going to see you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for watching Black Belt News Network.
Thank you for having me.